Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we are here with another lecture of public administration. Today we will discuss in detail about the next scientist of the theories we were already discussing. So the basically contributor firstly we will discuss is Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol is called the father of modern management theory, and he was a French industrialist. His book on general administration appeared in 1916 and it was written in French. Fayol found that activities of industrial taking could be grouped in six parts, like the activities which are performing in any of industry. These activities could be grouped in six different parts. We can say that these six are the six different departments in an industry. First one is production. So production is an important department in any industry. Whatever the products are producing, even if it is like journal products or it is services, these are produced in the production department. Then there's commercialization. Until unless you don't commercialize your products, you can't get enough benefits. Then there's financial, like you need resources, you need finance for the production and for the commercialization of an industry. Like without money ultimately you can't do anything. So financial means you need money, you need finances, you need resources for the production and for the commercialization in the industry. Then there's security, like protection of property. An industry is of course on a property or on a place, and it is the responsibility of the company or the industry to secure the place wherever they are placed in. And security, we can also count the security of the human resource, like the people who are working in the industry, their life must be protected as well. The protection of security and as well as the protection of the life of the individuals in that industry is also the responsibility of the industry, and that is an important group in the industry. Then accounting, like to maintain the accounts of the company or the industry, like what are the resources of the company, what are the resources of the industry, what are the expenses of the industry, and ultimately what is the situation of profit and loss of the industry. Then managerial, like the hierarchical structure where there will be a CEO in the industry, like chief executive officer. Further there will be managers, there will be supervisors, and then there will be lower staff. Like there is a proper hierarchical structure or a managerial structure which will be responsible for the effective management of the resources of the industry. So, Henry Fayol also gave the 14 principles of the management. Like by following these 14 principles, ultimately, we can, or we can say, an industry or a state can be successful. So, first one is division of work. Like the task must be divided, and the right person must be assigned to for the right task. Like ultimately you can't hire a DVM doctor for a human ultimately. So you have to assign an MBBS doctor for the medical service, for the provision of medical services to a human being. So this is the division of work. Like you are assigning right task to a right person. You can appoint a person who is expert in marketing in the account office, and the person who is expert in accounts in the marketing office. Then authority and the responsibility. Ultimately there must be some kind of authority. There must be a CEO and he must be responsible for his act in the organization. Discipline, respect for the agreement, like there must be proper rules and regulations in the industry or in the organization, and it is the responsibility of the workers of the organizations to follow those rules and regulations. So it is the responsibility of each employee of the company to follow the rules and regulations which are identified by the industry or by the company or by the organization. Next one is unity of command. So in unity of command, basically receive order from one superior only. Like the decision must be took by one authority or one person in an organization, and he must and further the decision must be followed by the lower staff or by the subordinates. Those are managers, supervisors, and the further lower staff. So there must be unity of command. If everyone in the organization will have the authority to take decision, it means it will directly affect, or it will be, or the decision will be affected. So until or unless only one person won't be responsible to take decisions for the organization, the decisions or we can say uh, those decisions will not be much beneficial for the organization. So there must be one superior who must give directions to its subordinates, and ultimately the subordinates should follow those decisions. Then subordination of individual interest to the general interest, like the manager should work in the interest of the organization. Ultimately whenever there is an organization or an industry, they work a lot of people, and all of them wanted to work in a different way. So Henry focused this thing that all the subordinates or the individuals must be interested in the general interest, like their own interest shouldn't be existed even. Their decisions must be rational, and they must act or perform rationally in the organization. And like each and every individual in the organization should perform on a common goal, and they should work on that common goal, and they should work to achieve that common goal. Then remuneration method of payment should be fair and give maximum satisfaction to the employee and employer. So ultimately the method of payment must be identified by the organization or by the employer. We can understand this thing that ultimately when the method of payment must be fair and it must be satisfactory for the employers, the organization will pay on time to its subordinates. Then ultimately the subordinates will be more, we can say they will work more, they will work more enthusiastically for the organization, and they will be more sincere to the organization. Then centralization, the extent to which the authority is concerned in one person or dispersed in the organization. Like ultimately there must be a centralized system, as we have already discussed that the decisions of the organization must be centralized to its executives, like the CEO, like the owner of the organization or the company, or in general or in public organization, that must be the president or the prime minister, or we can say the member of national assemblies, like the politicians, or we can say the ministries. They are responsible to take decisions, and ultimately what is the responsibility, that after taking those decisions they have to disperse those decisions, they have to further uh, make aware, like you have to make general public aware about those decisions are in an organization. each of the employee of the organization must be aware about those decisions, so they must be able to perform the task in a right way. Then scalar chain, like line of authority or chain of command. So there must be a chain of command or line of authority or a scalar chain, that there must be top level management, then there must be a middle level management, then there must be a lower level management. There must be a proper hierarchy of authority, like the decision must be taken at the top level management, that then the decision must be communicated to the middle level management, and then middle level management must work properly, must work hard to achieve that particular goal which is decided by the top level management, and lower level management must cooperate with the middle level management to achieve that goal. Then order, a place for everything and everything in its place. Like the everything must be performed in an order, in at the right time. Like if firstly we will not perform a task until we won't get a decision from the top level management. Like you can start producing a product in the industry or in an organization, you can start providing services in an organization until or unless the top level management won't take a decision, and then you must have enough resources to provide those services. So there must be an order to perform the task. The top level management will take the decision, the middle level management will be informed about that decision, then the middle level management will work uh, to achieve that goal with the help of lower level management. Then equity, justice and fairness on the part of the manager. Like the manager should treat each of the employee of the organization with justice and fairness, that there must be no biasness, or the manager shouldn't favor even a single employee in an organization. Instead, he must treat each of the member of the organization equally, and if there is something like if some of the member of the organization treats uh, or makes some unfair treatment with any of the employee, then it is the responsibility of the manager to take right decisions and should stop that activity at that particular time. Then stability of the tenure of personnel. Like ultimately whenever you hire personnel means the human resource or the people who work for the organization. So the tenure, or we can say uh, the era, or we can say the time in of working of a person or in an organization must be identified by the organization. Then initiative, keenness to work, like each of the member of the organization must be keen to perform their task, and they must take an initiative to perform their task in a proper manner. Like if a member of organization is not keen to perform its task, then ultimately you can't achieve the goal at the right time or in any of the time. Then spirit the corps, like unionist strength. In an organization, teamwork is very important. If there is a task and the task must be performed by whole team, and if one of the member won't perform his task, it means like the output of that particular task won't be we can say that it won't be justified, or it won't be very good. So ultimately whenever you are working in an organization, you have to perform as a team. You can perform individually and you can't achieve the goals. So to achieve the goals in a right manner, a member or each of the member in the organization must perform as a team, and they should perform their task at their individual level in a best way. So this is known as spirit the corps. Then unity of the direction. Ultimately, each group of activities with same objective must have one head and one plan. Like uh, there's an organization and there are different departments, like one is finance, one is human resource, one is account, one is production, one is commercialization, one is marketing. So each of the department in the organization should have a head who must be able to execute the plan in a right manner. So these are the 14 principles which were given by the Henry Fayol, and these are known as the general principles of the management. Like whenever you are performing a task in an organization, you have to follow that principle, and by following these principles, ultimately the organization can achieve its goals effectively and efficiently, this is the right way to perform or to achieve a goal in an organization. So then main features of the classical school. The main focus of the classical school was as follow. Like here it is the end of the classical school of thought that we were already discussing from the last two lectures. The first one is the task of the administration is not political but technical. That is only carry out the will of the political authority. Like ultimately uh, it is the political authority which basically decide or which basically identified that what need to be performed, and then it is the responsibility of the administration to make a policy and to implement the policy. But like it is not a political or it is not the responsibility of the politicians. That is basically the thought in the classical school. Then it emphasizes in is on material and methods instead of human element in the organization. Like it focuses more on the efficiency, it focuses more on the output instead of the human resource in the organization. Then it treated people as the cogs in the machines. People in the organization were like other machines and tools. Like they don't treat specifically or specially the human resource of the organization. Instead, the human resource of the organization is treated as machines in the organization as well. Then focus wants to increase the productivity, and it improves organizational efficiency and ensure high productivity due to economic incentives to the workers. Like the organization is providing economic incentive, or we can say the pay economic in we can say the cash to its workers. So ultimately, as a responsibility, it is their responsibility in the organizations to perform efficiently and to ensure the high productivity in the organization.